All right, we're live now. 10 seconds in, no intro, just other than hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. And so far, we ain't got no zero viewers, so it's we can just sit around and talk for a little bit until we start getting some. We got 5 on. That's good.
Oh, wow.
Yep, let me go to comments. I'll post a comment here. Hello, all. Please post a comment or question. There we go. See if that'll pop up here.
Okay.
All right.
Is, yeah.
There we go. All right. So for the 5 years we got on, welcome to the Wild Pursuit, the Kenneth Little Fishing podcast, and we got Zach Warren on with Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers. Here shortly we'll have Josh Massey come on too with Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, and we'll be discussing season dates, the schedule, and the season opener for the icebreaker tournament. We are looking forward to that. So without further ado, I guess Zach, go ahead and take it away. Yeah, looks like Luke is on. He
well, what's up, Luke? Well, we're really excited to be back this year and looking forward to meeting all these new people I've been talking to and fishing some really good events. This year, Oklahoma's going to be popping. There's going to be a lot of fishing events happening, a lot of opportunities for new anglers to get out there and explore new waters. Probably have a few other honey holes on these lists too. And we got the season opener at Lake Durant down here in the south, and somebody's going to catch some big fish out there. This time of the year, that lake can produce some absolute monsters. And seeing some of the people that have already signed up, I have really good faith that there's going to be some big ones posted. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be tough out there. This time of year can be feast or famine too. So we'll see what everybody gets, and it should be pretty fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good tournament. The weather for the week is turning out to be pretty good, and it may be a little windy, but I don't really think you have to worry about wind a whole lot on Durant Lake. But the high is supposed to be 85 degrees, so we got great weather leading up to it. A good long 4-day warming trend, and so those bass ought to get active and be ready to bite.
Yeah, a lot can change in a very short period of time this time of the year. They can move up and go into a really good feed. They can move out. A lot of times you find them in they're at first, when I first started fishing in the wintertime, I really struggled, but it's almost like a reverse summer pattern. It's kind of how I look at it now. They may not be in the exact same places that they hang out in the summer, but they're going to be in similar areas. And there's a lot of cool stuff to fish out there. A lot of ledges and kind of steep banks. And then you've got some gradual humps and old ponds and stuff like that on the other side. There's trees everywhere. Flipping and pitching is your thing. And there's going to be a lot of different ways that you can approach this tournament this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good day. I know everybody. We've been off for too long now, and a lot of us are ready to get back out on the water and get this season started. I know Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers has kind of got a really, really good schedule this year. A lot of events for the Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, and our events also coincide with the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers to where our points are going to kind of work together. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Zach, on how the points are going to kind of work together?
Yes. we've been uh yeah, the way that this is going to work is we're going to have our own OY, and 5 of our anglers will have an opportunity to compete in OKA's state championship later on this year. And we're doing the scoring a lot, really similar to the way OKA already does it. So it's a cumulative score based on your 5 best events. And I think, do we have 12 events this year? 10 or 12, something like that. We have quite a few. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to improve your score. It's going to be pretty competitive out there. Quite a few old faces and a lot of new guys showing up this year too. So it'll be good to see who wins the AOY and who qualifies for state. Also, based on our AOY last year, we will be taking 5 anglers to the All-American Kayak Classic on Truman Lake in Missouri. So that's really cool that we get to be a part of that as well. Get to go up there and represent the state of Oklahoma. Me and Kenneth went last year, and it was a ball. It was a little high, but it was a really, really fun trip. Really got to have a good time socializing and getting to know these people and kind of working together to figure out that ridiculous high water lake.
Yeah. Yeah, it was continuously rising the whole time we were there. I don't think it would ever started dropping. Maybe on the last day it may have stabilized, but when I first got there, it was like 7 feet high, and the day I left, it was like 12 feet high. So it was crazy fishing. It was definitely tough for me, but I really like that lake. I really like the way it's set up. I kind of got a good idea where I want to go fishing at it this year, and looking for a little bit of redemption when we go back.
Yeah, for sure. It was I was pretty surprised when we found out what won it, and then I went home and thought about it some more. I was like, well, that actually makes sense. But the guy that won was the only one in the top 10 that threw a fluke the whole time, and apparently that's all you needed out there.
Yeah.
But it was I felt like I was thinking, but I never pulled the fluke. So,
Yeah.
Give me a little insight for next year. What's a try?
Yeah, what few bass I did catch down there, other than a couple jig fish, off some offshore timber. After he said a fluke, I don't know why it didn't click with me earlier, but immediately I thought that would have been perfect for the way I was catching what fish I did catch. A fluke would have been absolutely killer in that fishing that flooded bushes. That I was trying to fish a crawl through them flooded bushes, and finally ended up switching to a Nico rig and was able to get my limit on the second day and cool. But it was definitely tough the first day, and fishing that Nico rig in them flooded bushes, just kind of floating it through them. That's what they were wanting.
Yeah, I saw a lot of guys throwing wacky worms and Nico rigs and stuff like that, and I threw it around a little bit and got a few bites. The one I found the most luck on though is I put like an 1/8 ounce weight on a salamander, and I was throwing it in the grass and dragging it back through the bushes, and I thought I was onto something, but it didn't pan out as great as I thought. But it's still really fun just fishing the lizard all weekend.
Yeah, yeah, I love a lizard, especially on a Carolina rig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
I don't think the lizard's going to win this weekend.
I don't think so. It may be a little early for a lizard. We may be all out there juggling a minnow.
Probably. It's like I told you the other day. I said, if you see me in the channel with a Ned rig, everything went to shit.
Yep. That's a way it'll go. So another thing with the Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers this year is that's different from last year is our Saturday all day events will be ran through Turning X, and our jackpots that'll be on Thursday, or I believe a Friday on a couple of them, will all be run pay at the ramp. Is that correct, Zach?
Yes, yeah. So we want to do the Saturday events on Tourney X because we anticipate having bigger turnouts at those, and the app is great for helping us cycle through those fish and everything. But for the Friday events, we think we're going to just keep the price low for everybody and give the working man a better opportunity to come and fish these events. We just decided to keep the price a little bit lower and just do it traditionally for those events. So it's just kind of, we're doing a little, still, this is our second year. So we're doing a little bit of experimentation with trying some different days this year, and also, try and turn the X out a little bit just to kind of see what fits and what works for us. And yeah, so I think just about everybody is pretty familiar with the Tourney X app, and any new guys, it's pretty easy to get acquainted with. So we think it's going to be a good deal this year.
Yeah, I've got a short video I made earlier that I can play for anyone that, once you've downloaded the Tourney X app and registered for a tournament, basically how to take a picture of the fish and submit it. And I will play that here later on in a little bit, but let's jump into the schedule. So one thing about the Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers this year with our schedule is we worked with Oklahoma Kayak Anglers to coincide with their schedule on a few events. So the weekend before Oklahoma Kayak Anglers season opener on Broken Bow, we will have our event on March the 29th on Broken Bow. Our first event is on February 8th at Durant Lake. That's our icebreaker tournament. That'll be this coming Saturday. We'll kick it off, and this video does not count as a captain's meeting, but we will run a captain's meeting on the night before each one of these tournaments, with the time to be announced. If you don't have Facebook or social media, we will also be live streaming all of our captain's meeting to YouTube, where you can also log in and leave a comment that you watched it on there. And if you have any questions, you can also ask it through the YouTube app as well. That way, for the guys that don't want to do social media, they can still come on and watch our captain's meetings to still make sure everything's legit for the tournament. So a few of the tournaments, and I don't remember which ones, but I've got all of the 2025 SOKA tournament schedule, and I've got all of the 2025 Oklahoma Kayak Anglers tournament schedule too. So if you'll notice, there will be a few of these dates where, like on Kerr, we're going to be on Kerr Lake, Kerr Reservoir, April the 17th, which is on a Thursday. April the 20th or April the 19th, Oklahoma Kayak Anglers will be on Kerr. And so if you want to get there and do some fishing before, if you get there early, maybe on Thursday evening, you want a jackpot Thursday evening, put in a little pot for the tournament. It's just something that we're offering to go along with maybe some guys that get there early and do a little pre-practice. Maybe they want to jump in a little jackpot before the Oklahoma Kayak Angler tournament. Anyway, it just gives people that are already there a chance to go ahead and jump in, or maybe some that has to work on a Saturday can jump in one a few days earlier. But we've got several tournaments on our schedule this year, and they're kind of spread out all across the southern Oklahoma and eastern Oklahoma to kind of accommodate everybody. We're doing kind of a test to spread these out to make it to where more kayak anglers can get involved in some of these tournaments. Some of them, are a little bit too far east. Some guys that, there's several tournament schedules out there. There's the Western Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, the Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, and then you've got the TTO, the Tulsa Yak Pot Series, Tulsa Tackling Outdoors Yak Pot Series. and you've got Tulsa Bassathon. So there's a lot of tournaments all over the state that you can jump in. And as we try to run these podcasts, I'll try to run them every week if possible, but we can start trying to get updates on every tournament trail throughout our state. Uh, we do have some of our local anglers that also go out and fish a national trail, and we'll try to cover them as well. Whenever they get back, we can bring them on to discuss how things are going. It'll just give lots to talk about. But on this episode, we're mostly going to be talking about the Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers 2025 tournament schedule and our season, as well as the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers season.
Yeah, so Texoma in March, I think that one should be really good. It's a Saturday event too. It's the day before the time change. So the way we kind of structure this is we got a couple of tournaments in before the time change on a Saturday, and then we're going to start transitioning to those Friday night jackpots once we have a little bit more daylight. But Lake Texoma, that's going to be an anywhere launch type situation. I'm going to holler at North Texas, NTXKC, and see if any of those guys want to go out for it, try to make it a little bigger event. Then we got beloved Broken Bow on there. It's always a good show. Even if you don't catch anything, it's just a gorgeous place to go hang out. And Kerr. Yeah, I don't like that lake, but we're going to go fish it anyways. And then a couple of little road runners there too. So Carter and Rex Smith, that's the Kingston Medill road runner. There's a couple of small lakes up here that produce absolute giants. If you don't believe me, go look at Trey Pulliam's page. He's got them all over it. And then we're going to try one up over here in my neck of the woods on a couple of smaller spots, Widow Moore and Cumberland. So where the Ouachita River comes into Lake Texoma, it's cut off Widow Moore from the rest of the lake of Texoma. And then if you keep going down that highway over there, it takes you past Fort Ouachita. There's a couple of other cuts where there's like really good spots to put in a kayak. And I've never actually fished over there. I fished Widow Moore once or twice, but really looks fishy down in there. And I thought it might be kind of cool. They're kind of muddy little holes, but they're sure to have some bass in them. And then finally going to see another event on Sardis. Hopefully it's not too windy. And then in June, okay. Gonna do a little jackpot launching out Soldier Creek at Texoma. And then the one I'm probably the most excited for is McGee Creek in August. And we're going to host a night fishing tournament there. So that will be Friday night at McGee Creek in the middle of the summer. So we're going to try to beat that heat by getting out there in the dark and try to catch some of those McGee monsters. And then later on, we got Carl Albert. And that's one you put on there, Kenneth. You're right.
Yeah, that's Lake Carl Albert down by Tallahena. It's a lot of people call it Tallahena Lake, but it's actually Lake Carl Albert. It's a very it's not a huge lake, but it is very beautiful. It sets up a little bit like Broken Bow Lake as far as beauty goes. It's definitely a smaller lake that if you haven't been on, you will not regret coming to. Everyone's going to love it there. It's going to be no matter what time of year you hit there, it's good fishing.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and then we got
our
Pine Creek
last
Lake
but not least is a classic, and we're gonna have that this year. Yeah. So in order to qualify for our classic, you must attend at least one of the other events for SOKA. OKA events will not count as a, but it should be a pretty good turnout, I think. And that lake is really fun. It can produce some really wild numbers, and there's also some pretty good ones out there. It's pretty big fish.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. That's I was hoping OKA would do their state championship on Pine Creek whenever I was fishing all of their events, and now that we're doing these two, I'll get to fish both OKA and Southern Oklahoma Kayak Angler events, and it's I'm looking forward to having a fall tournament on Pine Creek Lake. That ought to be it's a slugfest anytime you go there anyway, but it ought to really be good in September. So we've got a
yeah.
so I've got a
yeah. I don't know. It seems like last time we went out there, it was a little tough.
Yeah,
but it's wild. Like Earth. It seems like when I was checking temperatures, like the day before the tournament in practice, it was like 84 degrees, and then that temperature dropped.
Yeah, that wind picked up. I still ended up catching quite a few. But
you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Nope, I can't change it. I was going to try to see if I could change some settings here. Hold on a second. Nope, I can't change it. But anyway, I think everything's going to be fine. Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. I want to play this video for those of you that may be new to submitting fish on Tourney X or to kayak fishing. I'm going to play this video, and then I'm going to bring Josh Massey on. Okay. So you've caught your fish. You've got it placed on closed. Is right up against the bump stop. You want to put your hand on your fish if you have to hold it still.
Is it loading? It looks like Kenneth is probably resetting this thing. So I'm just going to sit tight for a minute. I don't know if I can see the comments, but I saw Big Mike was on here and Luke, a couple other guys. Oh,
all right.
Here comes Classy Massey.
What's up, everybody?
All right. I think maybe we got everything back. I think whenever I tried to post that video for us to watch it, I think it was an overload on my internet. So everything kind of went down. So I apologize to anybody that we lost. Hopefully, everyone stuck around for the while we were kind of down for a moment. And but we're back good now, and I will try not to play any instructional videos. If you want to watch any instructional video on how to submit your fish, I posted it on my YouTube channel. So go check that out. Hello, Josh.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Always, it's going pretty good. Everything's been going real well. We
Nice.
was having some technical difficulties just for a little bit whenever you came on. So
Oh, sorry. I probably brought the static.
no, it was. I had created a video showing the process of from when you catch your fish, how to take your photo and submit it to the leaderboard on Tourney X, kind of for our new members, and showing your hand placement, where to place your hand, and some things about the fish, that the mouth's got to be shut, got to be bumping the bump board, tail's got to be down. You can't cover the gill plate or eye with your hand. Can't cover the tail with your hand, and stuff like that. So it's a quick. I don't even think the video is a minute long, but it's a quick, very instructional video. No BS, no fancy intro, no fancy outro. It gets right to it. I don't waste your time. So
Nice. The only thing I can add to it is if you wear long sleeves like I do and you write your identifier on your hand, just make sure you always pull up the sleeve so you can get the whole identifier in the picture.
yeah, you definitely want to be able to see that identifier in that video. And I didn't cover that part. I may go back and edit that video, pull it off of YouTube and edit it and add that to it. But yeah, because you definitely want to have your identifier in that photo clearly visible, or because man, it would be horrible to be leading a tournament on McGee Creek and not have had your identifier or the correct numbers written down and lose all your catch.
Man, that would be tough. I'm glad. That would be tough.
That happened to somebody last year, didn't it?
I think so. I think I heard something like that happened, and it was pretty tough. I think it cost him Angler of the Year. At least from what I saw, I think it did cost him Angler of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, just an honest mistake. And cell service is bad there, so it's nearly impossible for anyone to reach out with a message and just say, hey, your identifier is wrong for the day.
And that morning we had storms all around, and it wasn't the greatest of mornings. I remember coming off the water that morning to seek a little shelter, lightning all around us.
Yeah, I missed out on that tournament this year. I had to work, and but it was just one of a couple that I missed. But I sure regretted that. I was really looking forward to the McGee Creek tournament.
I bet you guys are excited for your Lake Durant coming up this weekend, right? That's pretty awesome. First one of the OKA going on. That's pretty awesome. That's going to be a great event. Durant should be fire right now down there on that Texas-Oklahoma border.
Heck yeah, it's going to be fun.
Heck yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we've been talking about that for, I guess, for about the last 30 minutes of kind of all of our events and how they kind of work along with the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers points system. And at fishing our events, you gather points to also qualify for the Oklahoma Kayak Angler State Championship.
Yeah, definitely.
So it gives anglers another route too if they don't want to travel all over the state, because Oklahoma Kayak Anglers kind of ventures all over the state, to try to cover everybody. And there's some guys that don't want to travel too far. So we got little regions. The Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, we kind of take the southern and eastern part of the state a little bit, and then you got Western Oklahoma Kayak Anglers. They kind of handle everything. Probably, I don't know. Probably everything for sure east of or west of I-35. But I do know they come east of I-35 too.
Yeah.
But for sure they cover everything out there. And then you got the Yak Pot series. Dustin Wheeler and Blake Collins runs now. I think they're sponsored by Tulsa Tackling Outdoors, so they got some really good payouts and prizes. And then you got the Tulsa Bassathon, along with Oklahoma City Kayak Anglers.
Yeah, I think it was. I think they're called the Oklahoma City or OKCFC or something like that.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City Fishing Club, which are great,
Yeah.
a good group of guys. I always suggest that if you got the time and you got the ability to get out there to go out and fish with each one of the groups of guys, it's all of them are great, and it's good camaraderie, good competition, and it's always fun to get out there and just compete. Any day you're in a kayak fishing on the water is a great day for me. So.
Oh yeah, certainly.
But that's awesome. That's awesome. So, you went over the fish, and you guys, anything going on is important with your guys' tournament this weekend that the anglers need to know, or is it you guys already covered that?
Our tournament this weekend. The one thing we didn't cover was it will not be pay at the ramp. It's hosted through Tourney X. So to pay your entry fee for our tournament this Saturday on Durant Lake, go to Tourney X and sign in there. And you can find it on Tourney X. Don't type in your search bar Southern Oklahoma. It won't pop up. Just type in SOKA and it'll pop up in that.
Nice. It's always good when we use Tourney X to help manage all the fish catching and the ability to judge and everything. It's a great tool that we have as anglers and tournament directors to utilize. So Tourney X is always great.
Yeah, that, and we're we went over we will do our captain's meeting the night before every tournament.
Nice.
We'll not only host the captain's meeting on Facebook as usual and has been done in the past, but we're also going to use the streaming platform to share it to YouTube to be live on YouTube at the same time for some of the guys that or girls that do not have social media. Some people just don't want social media, and that is perfectly fine. If it wasn't for everything we do, I wouldn't have it either. I've only got it basically for fishing. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have social media, and I know Zach feels the same way. It's kind of a necessary something nearly necessary for what we do to keep in contact with what we got.
Definitely. Well, I'm excited to be on here and be talking to you guys. I'm excited for the 2025 season, man. There's so many great opportunities for anglers out there with all the clubs like you guys have and the OKA and then the national scene. I'm excited that Bassmaster Kayak Series is bringing a tournament to Lake Tenkiller this year, right to our back door. So I'm super excited about that. And the season is just a month or so from about getting kicked off, month and a half. You guys are starting this weekend, and it's a great time to be a kayak angler in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Randy Creason, he said live content all day or just the weigh-in. We will try to do the weigh-in every time live. For our first few, for the winners of the group. And if we can do that, then maybe in later this year or something, I'm working on a few things where we may be able to do some live fishing. I can host up to 10 guys, so I'll have to run it with 9 guys. So I may figure out how to do a co-host and 5 anglers, maybe pick a top 5 and have a special tournament for that. And we can run a live 4-hour tournament or maybe do match qualification or something every couple hours. But anyway, it's just something to, I think it'd be pretty neat, so the major league bass fishing world shouldn't be the only ones that, where people can go and watch kayak anglers catch fish.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be pretty cool. I know the logistics of it, something that holds a lot back, but I think once you master that, I think you got it down.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Let me see if I can pull up the Southern Oklahoma or the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers schedule here.
Yeah, definitely. I know that the board members, they've worked hard this year to get these the Oklahoma Kayak Angler board members have all worked really hard to get the tournaments on the schedule this year. I know what you got up right now are just the dates of our tournaments, not the lakes. So those are our dates for the 2025 season. I think we start the year off at Broken Bow. Let me pull it up on my phone real quick and it'll give us a list of lakes.
Yeah, I'm looking real
here,
quick.
I'm pulling it up too.
Let's see here.
Yeah, we start out
Yeah, that
April
one's
5th.
just the dates. It must be for the cover.
But yeah, we start April 5th there at Broken Bow, which is going to be a blast of a fishery. I don't know. I know both of you guys have both been to Broken Bow, but for anglers that haven't been there, it's a beautiful lake, a great state park, and usually that time of the year we have fire fishing. I mean, I would even bet that almost everybody that enters the tournament catches the limit of fish for that tournament. It's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. That's there's some really good lakes on both of the Southern Oklahoma Kayak Angler schedule and the Oklahoma Kayak Angler schedule this year, and there's some good lakes and there's some challenging lakes.
Yep, there are definitely a good variety of mixed lakes. I think that there's not very many bodies of water that our groups haven't covered this year. If you look at it, there's a lake on most of the there's a tournament on most of the lakes that we have.
Yeah,
in the state. So, like I said, it's a great year to be a kayak fisherman. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, so I've got all of yours. I've got all of your tournaments posted for the Oklahoma kayak anglers, along with the classic and the state championship. So this year, which is different from the previous years, is you have added a classic to your schedule instead of several events and a championship. Can you explain a little bit to us how that classic is going to work?
Yeah, well, I know that the details are still being ironed out, but I know that the premise of the OKA Classic is to take a smaller group of numbers of our anglers that fish nothing but Oklahoma kayak angler events and give them an opportunity to, have a classic and a championship, kind of like a club championship. So that's kind of how the premise of it is that we're going to take a smaller group of guys from just the OKA that fish star events, and then they'll have a chance to compete with other Oklahoma kayak anglers on Greenleaf Lake there for the OKA Classic and have a chance to take home that title. So it's going to be a great event. It's going to be another 2-day event. So I guess just the best way to look at it is a club championship. All the clubs in the state have their club championships, and they set, qualifying criteria for each tournament. And as the Oklahoma kayak anglers, I think they decided that it was time for us to have our own little club championship. Because the state championship is all inclusive for every club in the state, so they can send their anglers to the state championship to compete. So
Randy Creason wants to know: will both the classic and the championship count towards Angler of the Year points?
I think that's a question that would be best directed towards the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers page to the board. That way that it can be discussed between all the board members to decide and see where that goes. I don't know if there was a decision made on it already or not, but I would definitely reach out to the page to get an answer on that question. I know that it will be before the Oklahoma State Championship, so it may qualify towards getting into the state championship.
Okay.
But
so
the OKA Classic will be just for the anglers. So I don't know. That's a good question for the board.
Yeah. That is definitely a good question for the board. I'm sure Michael Galbraith, I know he's on here, so he is probably already digging into that for the answer for that.
Yeah. Those guys the board members are so great about getting answers and getting back out to guys. So like I said, just reach out to the page, and I'm sure you'll get an answer pretty speedy like.
Yeah. So also, I don't remember if you have mentioned it or not, but your April 5th event, which is your first event of the year, it's also going to be a double event where it's also going to be your Bass Nation qualifying event as well.
Yeah, that's correct. So usually we run it at the end of the year each year, but we decided that since we're going to be at Broken Bow during a great time of the year, that we might as well go ahead and start qualifying guys for the 2026 Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship. So we'll run that as a Bassmaster Kayak Nation qualifier event, along as Oklahoma Kayak Angler Season event number 1. So it's a double dip, so to speak. You'll be able to qualify and win 2 different prizes.
Yeah. Yep.
So
go ahead.
No, it's just a great opportunity, and right out of the gate, it gives us something to gun for, It puts a little bit more weight on that first tournament, so you can be able to get in there.
Yeah. That was kind of why we threw our event, our second event, or our third event, the weekend before that Broken Bow event. There's going to be a lot of anglers coming down there that weekend to pre-fish for that event for your guys' event. And so we thought, why not hold an event there? A lot of people's going to be showing up anyway to fish. And if I know most of the guys that are showing up to pre-fish and practice, if there's a way they can throw some money on the line, they'll do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely be part of that group. I'll probably be down there the weekend before pre-fishing, so probably count me in on that SOKA event. So,
yeah.
But I get, what's cool is this year we've got 2 events in April, and really trying to take a hold of that spawn. And our next event's going to be on Kerr, which to me is going to be a really awesome fishery. That time of the year we usually get a lot of rain in northeastern Oklahoma or eastern Oklahoma, so flooding could play into that. The lake is huge, so there'll be lots of areas, and a lot. If the lake is flooded, it will be even a lot bigger than what it normally is. So it should be pretty fun. That's one of the events that I'm really looking forward to, is the Kerr event.
Yep. So we've got Trent Harris asked a good question, and this is a question that I asked Michael Galbraith, the president of the OKA, last year, which is, what's the best way to get boats in the water for the launch, but out of the way of ramp for others for the official start time? And so what I was told was it's okay to launch, and you can move your boat out away from the ramp, but you got to stay in the close proximity.
That's correct. Yeah.
You need to get out and be away from everybody, and you can anchor down or spot lock, or if hold yourself there with the paddle, whatever you got to do. Just don't take off and go fishing. Just pretty much stay right there until it's time.
Within 100 yards of the boat ramp, within earshot. You don't want to be too far, in one direction. But I mean, as long as you're within 100 feet or 100 yards of the boat ramp, I think that's acceptable. I mean, it's going to be based upon how many people are at the ramp. You don't want to be 100 yards away from the ramp if there's only 4 guys there at the ramp. If there's 25 guys at the ramp, they're all huddled around. You're gonna that area is gonna open up a little bit. But you want to be pretty close to the ramp. You don't want to be too far off of it, but you want to give people enough space that they can get their boats in and out of the water. Especially some of these tournaments, we'll have be sharing boat ramps with bass boats. So you definitely want to get in and get out of the way and not hog the ramp or take too much time. So get your kayak in, move it off to the side, go park the truck, come back down to the kayak, and stay within 100 feet or 100 yards, just depending on how many guys are at that ramp.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and if you're out there, if you're new to this, or you haven't fished with any of these guys before, if you launch and you don't want to feel like sitting out there by yourself, just paddle over to another kayak. Everybody in here is friendly. We all love to visit. We all love to chat. And there's only one thing we love to do more than fish, and that's talk about fishing. So
That's right.
Yeah. So even though a lot of us are strangers, we're not strangers. We're all buddies on the water. So don't
Yeah.
if you find yourself out there alone, and you feel like just coming over and shooting, starting up a conversation, feel free to do so. Everybody's friendly and willing to have a conversation and talk. And we all look forward to fishing and competing against each other, but it's as much about the camaraderie than anything.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think that's one of the major parts of kayak fishing is the camaraderie. Uh, can't beat it anywhere else.
Yeah,
But
I'd like to add something about the launching. So I'm not sure if Trent's question was specific for Durant Lake or just a general question, but I think it's important for everybody to know, and I'm going to go over this tonight and also during the live meeting on Friday at 7. But there's only one legal launching point at Lake Durant. Points aren't allowed. And so we're all going to share the same ramp. And I think that there's a few things that you guys could know before they get there that could help everybody get through more quickly. So for this particular lake, the gate opens at 6 a.m. So our launch time isn't for an hour until after 6. So we're launching at 7. But last year what we did is we all pulled up and parked at the gate, and we started getting our kayaks ready right there at the gate. And it's a very short drive from the gate to the boat ramp, so you can put most of your gear on and just be ready to go. The most important thing to remember is when you pull up to the ramp to launch, you need to be ready to launch. You don't want to pull up and park on the ramp and start unloading your truck there, because that will just slow everybody down. So for this particular event with one ramp, I think that if you start getting ready early, it'd be better. We should have an hour before the event starts to get ready, and just don't occupy too much time on the boat ramp. And honestly, if you need help, ask for it, and somebody will probably help you get your boat launched. So just a few little pointers, things that I wish I would have known the first time I went out, so I wouldn't have looked like, embarrassed myself by occupying too much time or being in everybody's way. And if any questions, just ask, and we'll be sure to fill you guys in.
Yeah, I know. Kayak fishermen over the years has taken a kind of a bad rap of taking too long at the ramp, loading or unloading. And so that's kind of my goal every time I go unload and load, is to make sure that I can do it faster than the bass boat guys can get unloaded and loaded and out of the way. And I'd much rather be waiting on them than them have to wait on me.
definitely.
Yeah,
So,
it's just kind of like, it's a courtesy thing. Some people, that aren't in this environment a lot, they may not understand it, but just kind of be respectful of everybody there, and usually it goes pretty well.
yep. Yeah, definitely.
The beer of the evening.
It's like Trent asked what
Trent
beer you're
Harris,
drinking.
Trent Harris wants to know what the beer of the evening is. Let's see here. Let's see if it'll show it. You gonna read that? Is that a plug? Is that what that's called? A plug? I got lots of them. I got bags and bags and bags of empty last swim bait.
Can we see what's in the bag?
Huh?
I said, can we see what was in the bags?
Oh yeah. It's empty. I've already taken it out and put it inside my tackle box.
That's why I said, can we see what was in the bag?
Oh, what was in the bag? Hold on a second. I'll show you.
I'm a bait junkie. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited for the season. I mean, it's going to be great. There's so much opportunities this year, which is a great thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I like, the camaraderie and the support that we've gotten as smaller clubs from OKA has been great. And we all have the same goal in mind, and that is to grow the sport, to get more people involved, and make Oklahoma a headliner for kayak tournaments. And I think that with everything that's happening right now, we're well on our way to that.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, I'm just excited that we have a national tournament. We don't have to drive 10 hours away to fish a national tournament. We got one right here at 10 Killer at our back door. So it's going to be pretty fun.
Have to get kicked out of Arkansas.
Maybe they'll let us fish this year.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, I feel so bad for him. He caught so much hell over that.
Yeah, I mean,
I honestly believe it was just an honest mistake. Yeah, he didn't fully understand the whole format. Because as soon as he kind of figured it out, he went back and changed it, and he did a public apology on it. So.
Yeah, I mean, one of our guys qualified. I think he even won their tournament. Went over there and won it out. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think I can't speak for the board as me individually, but I can say that I really feel like as a kayaker in Oklahoma, we're welcome to any competition from any state, and we used to run these border battles with the Arkansas club back in the day, which allowed us to have bragging rights over some of our border lakes. So, it's just all in good fun. And I think, each state has a really good set of anglers. So, it's just, it's up to whatever happens on that given fishing day,
Yep. So, so to answer Trent's question, the beer of the evening is Michelob Ultra. Just so you know, it's not Michelob Ultra, but it sure helps it. All right, so here's one of the crankbaits. I don't know if you guys can see this very good. This is a flat side. And I don't even know who it's made by, other than it comes from Last Swim Custom Baits. He hand paints all of his baits, and I don't know if the camera's showing that up or not, but that black turning to purple with a little bit of glitter on it.
Yeah, it looks good, man.
The flat side, so it's going to dive, and with this little bit bigger bill, it's going to dive around that 7, anywhere from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 foot mark.
Nice.
So that's one of them, and this is a little fat, another square bill. That's a little fat. It's got a little bit harder of a knock in it. It's got a knock kind of like a Whopper Plopper. Whopper Plopper makes a deeper chug. That's kind of the way this bait is, and it's got that same thing. It's got that profile that turns from gray and then rolls up into a little bit of purple and blue.
Yeah, kind of look like mega bass lures, like the SRX maybe a little bit on that one.
Yeah, but he hand paints all of his baits, and man, ever since I've started getting my my crankbaits and stuff from Bobby at Last Swim Custom Baits, it's been a game changer for me. I can't wait to start this season and start throwing a bunch of them.
Nice.
Even some of my older baits that I've got that I wore the paint off of or don't really like the color on, I've been sending to him, and he's been customizing them up for me so I can have some custom colors that nobody else has got, which sometimes, it's a subtle difference like that makes all the difference in the world.
That is correct. Those custom painted baits, it takes a little subtleness. And if you know exactly where you're fishing at and what they're biting, then it's always good to have a whole bunch ready to go.
Yeah. Yep. So if, I'll recommend anybody, if you haven't checked out Last Swim Custom Baits, go over to Etsy and check them out, or you can also find them on Facebook. He's also got a bunch of videos. He pours all of his own soft plastics. And nice. So last year on the Arkansas River, he kind of saved my bacon. I ran out of some baits. It was like a Wednesday. I ran out of these baits. I called him on Wednesday night and said, "Hey, I'm out of these baits. I need these baits. What's this color?" He said, "Well, what is the color that you want?" So I sent him a picture of the color I needed, and he called me Thursday evening and said, "I got your baits ready. Come pick them up." And
there you
so
go.
it was,
Service right there.
and the first, I think it's like a 17 or 16 and 3/4 or something. Might have been 17-inch fish that I caught on Arkansas River come from him. So
Nice.
it was it come in crutch, and he saved my bacon on that deal. So I didn't win that tournament, but I did catch a lot of fish.
Yeah. Nice. My kids are coming in here. I'll be right back.
All
I'll
right.
be right back.
Yep. So Michael Gabra said, also don't forget to check your inflatable PFDs and other trailer bearings.
Here, I'm on the thing.
I can attest to both of those. I've turned my kayak over a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and it was really cold. It was in March, and the water was really cold. And I started trying to swim. I made it. I was able to grab a hold of my kayak, and of course, as soon as I hit the water, my PFD inflated. Saved my life. Because halfway to the bank before I could get to where I could get my footing on anything, the water was cold enough that I had already started cramping, and so I was starting to lose the ability to swim. And if it wasn't for that PFD, that saved my life. So please, everybody, if you got inflatable PFDs, a new cartridge is $30. Just put a new cartridge in it.
Yeah, and make sure you check the actual inflatable itself. Pull it out, unfold it, look at all the creases, because those creases in those inflatable life jackets, they get a lot of wear on them when we take them on and off, and sometimes they'll wear a hole just from taking it on and off 100 times in a season. So be sure, when you inspect it, to pull it out, unfold it, look at all the creases, make sure there's no holes in it, and if you got it, I always try to pop one just to make sure there's no holes in it, deflate it all back up, roll it back up, and put me a new cartridge in it. Because thankful to the Lord, I haven't had to use a cartridge yet. But so every year when I replace it, I just use that one that was fresh from the year before, just to expire it and put a new one in.
I did the same thing every year. I at the beginning of the season, I pop mine, I let it inflate, I leave it inflated all day long, and just check it at the end of the day. And if it's still inflated good, doesn't have any leaks, I pull that cartridge off, deflate it, fold it back up, put a new one on, and I know if something happens, it's going to save my life again.
Yep, and if you need to get a new one, make sure you go up here to Oklahoma Kayak at Tulsa Kayak Shop or Oklahoma City Store, and you can pick up. They have a whole bunch of different personal flotation devices that you can buy, from traditional ones to inflatable ones. And then also our sponsor with the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, Onyx, is back with us this year. So be sure to check them out if you're in the market for an inflatable life vest as well. But to continue where we left off with the season, I think our next event is at Fort Cobb, which is out west with the Western guys. I think that's one of those ones where we run it in conjunction with those guys. So you could double dip if you want and with that tournament. So it should be pretty fun. I don't know if I've ever fished that lake. Maybe I have. I think I have fished that lake once before. It's pretty tough for me, but I'm looking at getting another shot at it. So.
Yeah. So sometimes that lake can become tough. Just depends on the weather conditions. I guess it's about like that for every lake. Some are great, some are not. And Michael Galbraith had mentioned earlier about the All-American.
Yeah, definitely.
Which we'll get to that here in a second, because there's been several qualifiers. And I know there's been some roll downs on the Oklahoma Kayak Angler side.
Yeah.
So there are new spots that are opening up depending on the rollovers. Michael Galbraith is taking care of that as they roll down. I believe he's contacting everyone that's supposed to be able to get in, and because you kind of want to get your roster sent in as soon as possible and finalized.
Yep, that's correct. And it's a great event. I mean, if you haven't been up there, it's an awesome event. There's so many guys that show up. It's so many guys from all the local clubs in the United States get the opportunity to go and compete on. I think it's on Truman Lake there, and it should be fun. I mean, it's a standing timber type of lake, so it's big and vast and with fish in it, so it should be a great event. I mean, I look forward to getting up there with the team that we got with the OKA and trying to take home that team event part of it. I think that we've got a lot of sticks heading up there, and we have a pretty good shot if everybody fishes clean to bring home that title of Oklahoma Kayak Anglers team
All
winner.
three of us are going out.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
So should be a really fun event, and make sure like you said, Kenneth, check the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers page and to check for that post, and to make sure you get in contact with Michael Galbraith so he can like you said, finalize the roster and get it all submitted. It should be a great event.
Yeah. The All-American Kayak Series, they put on that classic every year that everyone qualifies for. But they've also kind of dipped a little bit further south this year than normal. So they're going to be hosting an event in April on Lake Fork down in Texas. And then they're also hosting another event on Grand Lake later on in the year.
I plan on hitting both of those events that you just talked about, and they have one in Arkansas on Bull Shoals Lake. So that's another one of those deep, clear water impoundments that would be a fun place to go, and not too far from Northeast Oklahoma. Only a couple-hour drive. So
yeah, actually, I think they canceled the Bull Shoals event.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I believe I talked to Joshua Booth the other day, and he said there was some conflict, so they ended up having to change it. I think the next closest one to us would be Wilson Lake in Kansas now.
Okay. Well, that's not too far.
Yeah, that's still pretty close. Yeah. And another thing I can attest to is checking your bearings. If you pull a trailer, check those wheel bearings. Man, there's nothing worse than being stranded on the side of the road with with wheel bearing issues. That's
definitely maintain your gear. I mean, it's always great. Our kayaks have been sitting all winter in the garage or wherever we've had them stored at. So it's always good to get out, before the first tournament, kind of pull everything off, kind of look at it, make sure everything is good to go. It's going to be water worthy. Make sure all your stuff's good to go. And, it's about preparation, but, if you prepare right, you're going to have a great day on the water. And if you don't prepare all that well, sometimes your days on the water won't go as planned. So I definitely suggest people to prepare and check everything out.
Yeah.
Fort Cobb is fire.
And I know when we was there year before last, it was fire. It was hot.
Yeah, it was hot. It was hot.
As the temperature hot. I slipped and fell in the water, and that was the best experience I had that whole time out there.
Oh, that's one thing I was going to say is this year, at least we're hitting it in May. So it should be a little bit cooler. The fish should be a little bit more cooperative, so it should be pretty fun. I hear Mr. Vaughn out west has been talking that lake up. So I'm hoping that it turns out to be, a shootout. So.
Yeah. Well, he won it year before last when we was out there, I believe, didn't he?
Man, I can't remember. It was so long. All I remember is I had a really bad day. My performance was really not good, and I kind of beat myself up the whole 4-hour drive back up here to Northeast Oklahoma. It was a tough day for me, but I'm glad some of my buddies did good. I remember my buddy Jason Metzger, I think, did pretty good with a couple fish, and I think Luke did pretty good. So, some of the guys had success. The one thing that gets me is when we go out there, our numbers kind of shrink. We usually, I think we only turned 20 or 30 guys or 30 guys for that tournament a couple years ago. So hopefully when we go back out there, our numbers will stay, strong and it will be a great event.
Yeah. Now, another thing that we haven't went over this evening, Tim Paul says, Timothy Vaughn won it.
There you go.
I remember he went up the creek. He fished way up the creek and caught him up there.
I tried something. I think Main Lake. I caught one smallmouth, and it was a tough day.
I will say this though, there's tons of shad on that lake, lots of bait fish. And what bass I did catch were really, really heavy fish. They were fat heavy, not the longest fish, but they were heavy as far as, you normally you'd catch a 17, 18-inch fish will be maybe a 2.5, 3 pounder. Out there, it was nearly a 4 pounder. They were so fat. They looked like they were ready to spawn is how fat they were. And they were just, every time you'd catch one, they'd just spit up shad.
Wow. It's a good amount of forage, but that can make it tough too sometimes in my experience, that when there's that much real stuff around, it's kind of hard for them to get to eat something that we're throwing that's fake,
Yeah. Nothing beats the real thing. It's like trying to call a turkey away from a hen.
Hey, but hey, Timothy did it, and won that tournament, and some of those other guys caught some good fish and put together some pretty nice stringers. So, we know it's possible, and hopefully it's a lot better than it was for a lot of us going back out there. And I'll never complain about getting another shot at a place that I didn't do too well at the first time. So, except for maybe Caw. A call I might not want to go back to, but
in a way, I kind of feel that way about Lake Fork sometimes. I had one of the best days of my life on Lake Fork, but I've also had some of the worst days of my life on Lake Fork. And that's a lake that if someone asks me if I want to go fish, my first response is yeah. But then I get to thinking, I'm like, I don't know. It's so risky. I wish I've had more good days than I've had bad down there.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat with you, but I think what gets me is just knowing that the fish are there swimming around. There are so many good sized fish in that lake. The Share Lunker program that Texas has does a great job with building their fisheries down there and stocking it with good fish. A lot of really good sized fish. So, I love getting down there, but like I said, just like you said, it's a love-hate relationship with me. My big problem with it is it's so overcrowded. So many people fish that lake from all around the world, and there's just so much pressure on it. So if you find something that's good, it's probably going to be good for you, and just to run with it as long as you can.
Yeah, that's right. Zach, you got anything to add other than everybody needs to have a 360 light if we're going to be out before daylight or after dark?
Yeah, so it's just the same standard stuff. Everybody needs a 360 light. Everybody must wear PFD at all times. We're launching at 7. First cast is at 7:30, and the tournament will be over at 2:30. So that's when lines dry are. And everybody also needs to sign a waiver. There's a couple of different ways to do it. If you go to our SOKA Facebook page, there's a link in the featured post, and then there's also a QR code that Kenneth created to scan so you can fill it out that way. Any questions that anybody may have can be directed to one of us here, Shane Moore, Justin Bluedo, or a couple more to mention that will help with those kinds of things. And if you need to message us privately, Facebook or our email would probably be best, which is southernoka@gmail.com. So it's best to ask questions now. If you have anything that you're concerned about, don't know about, it's best to kind of get figured out before you get there, so you don't submit a fish with the mouth open and get a deduction, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of little things to remember, and it's a learning curve for sure. It's not something that anybody just figures out in one day, and it's something that even guys like us that have been doing this for a while continue to learn about. So that's the best way, to figure out this knowledge is to talk to the guys that have been there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I encourage anyone to go to my YouTube page, Kenneth Little Fishing, and watch that little short video. how to submit your fish. It's real short, quick, and simple. The only thing I've left off of it is you need to make sure your identifier is visible, and I may go back and add that in edit later. But so one of the looming questions that's out there right now is every year the trophies are different. And so this year, the Zach has he had some materials, and he got with Shane, and together they've come up with some really awesome looking trophies. I'm gonna share it here to the deal so you can take a look at them. But these are the trophies that'll be for Lake Durant. So we have a first place trophy. Says SOKA Lake Durant, first place 2025, fish jumping out of water. And then we got SOKA Lake Durant Big Bass 2025. And so that and Zach, what are the diameter of those? Aren't they about the size of a pie plate or so?
Those are 10 inches.
Yeah.
Wow.
So actually, just for the record, we had to order these two because we're still trying to figure out how the engraver works. But the rest of them will be made by us. So I had small butcher block and I ripped it down and sent it with Shane. He tried to engrave it and it didn't work. So we just got these just to get us going until we get the rest of them. But keep an eye out because here in the near future, we're going to have some of those other trophies finished, and we'll be sharing those with you. They're going to be a little bit different design than this, but they're going to look really, really good. As a carpenter, I'm pretty excited to make these and make them look good. So they're going on somebody's shelves. Hopefully I get a couple to put on my shelf back here, but yeah, they're going to look good wherever they go.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get to bring home one or both of them. One of the things I like is it has the see if I can zoom in here. It won't let me zoom in, but anyway, it's got, if you look, it looks like, is that Durant Lake
in the bottom?
Yeah.
No, is it? No, surely not.
It looks so close. It looks close. It may not be, but the other trophies, they will have the lake engraved on them, correct?
Yes, and that's been the thing we've been trying to work on is just a cool little feature, something that you can really like take home and put on the shelf and be proud of. It's gonna be custom, and there won't be any other trophies in the country like them.
Yeah, and Tim Paul asked if they were wood. Yeah, they are made out of wood.
They look good, guys. They look really good.
Yeah, we're real excited about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm excited to see what OKA's trophies look like this year. Last year they were all made out of a catch boards, which made really
I think
cool trophies.
I'm not sure exactly how they're going to turn out this year, but I would suspect that they'll probably turn out the same. I know that one of our big I keep pointing to the wrong one, but one of the sponsors, Eskridge Chevy down in Oklahoma City, they've been a really big help with getting our awards for the last couple of years. And I know they came back on board with us again this year. So everybody go and check out Eskridge Chevy, and talk to them and tell them thank you for what they do for our club, which really allows us to go above and beyond and get those trophies made, and have them made before our tournaments. Excuse me. So, and I personally, I like the catch board look. Those are some nice looking hardware. I was lucky enough to take home a couple of them last year. Yeah, Zach's pointing at one, and that's nice. They look nice on the mantle or in your trophy case. So, they're just really cool. Hopefully this year I get to hold that big Angler of the Year trophy. But I know there's a lot of great anglers out there fighting for it. So.
Yeah, we're all climbing and clawing our way to the top every year, and that's
right.
Yeah. So if you're a business or a company or and you're looking for to get your name out there or advertise, or a sponsorship, reach out to Josh or Zach or myself. If you want to sponsor the podcast, reach out to me. We're trying to do this podcast every week to keep weekly updates going on. This one is running kind of long. It's running more than an hour, but we'll try to keep them, between 30, 45 minutes. But, there's no set time on a podcast. You just kind of run it and you enjoy it while it's good. And then you shut it down for the evening. So,
yeah.
We try to keep them under an hour, but this being the first one of the year, talking about the season openers, it is going a little bit over, but that's fine. We want to keep everybody engaged and involved and in the know. So
yeah, definitely. So, but do you want to run through the rest of the OKA schedule just so the guys know? Uchi Spavinaw on June 7th, which should be a great tournament where you'll both have a choice between either Uchi or Lake Spavinaw to fish and compete against. So, and then on June 21st, we're going to come back to the Central Roadrunner. It's kind of been one of our staples. With Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, there's going to be a group of lakes, which were the same lakes that were last year. So, be sure to check that out and read that up. And then in July, we have a tournament on Lake Skytook that's close to Tulsa. I think it's northwest of Tulsa a little bit. So that has smallmouth, largemouth, and spotted bass. And then we'll take a break for a month and end the season at Keystone Lake. So that will be a good challenge for a lot of anglers out there on that lake with kind of a dirtier, muddier type of water year round. So it should be fun. And then you already touched on the Classic, and then the Oklahoma Kayaking or the Oklahoma State Championship on Fort Gibson this year. So that will be a really fun tournament on Fort Gibson. So, yeah. And I know that we've already been approved and we're good to go for Fort Gibson. So it's just going to be a great event. They said the park rangers over there sound more than inviting.
Yeah. Yeah, they're usually excited to see us. Most of our anglers, especially at state parks and stuff, we camp out, so we fill campgrounds. We all pay taxes. We bring revenue to each one of these little small communities and towns and lakes. It's just another part of the outreach that we all have as large groups.
Yep, definitely. So. It's going to be a fun season this year. So many good lakes. You have them up there. Just so many good lakes to get out and just good fisheries. And we're going to have a fun time this year with all the different groups. And then we all get to meet together, like I said, October 25th and 26th at the Oklahoma State Championship. So that in that tournament, it's always fun because each of our clubs have bragging rights on the lines and the state championships on the line. So it's always a fun tournament.
Yeah, Western Oklahoma's having some good ones too, though. Don't forget about them over there.
Let me see if I can pull up Western Oklahoma Kayak Anglers.
Yeah, do that. They got some good tournaments going on out there this next year too. So, like I said, wherever you're at in the state this year, guys, you have plenty of opportunities to get out there and fish and meet guys. Build new friends. I have to tell you that. Man, got into this, I struggled a little bit with trying to talk to people and being open. And as soon as I got into the kayaking and started meeting guys, I have friends now that I'll have for the rest of my life. Yeah, I'm telling you that it's that great a group of guys. There's somebody out there that you can talk to, that you can connect with, and become friends with, and so many great opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, so here is the Western Oklahoma Kayak Anglers tournament schedule. March the 29th, they'll be at the Duncan City Lakes. April 26th, they're at False Lake. May the 17th, they'll be at Fort Cobb Reservoir with Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, so that'll be a double-up tournament. You can pay your entry fee and fish both of these for a chance to win 2 first-place prizes. Though May the 24th, the Wichita Wildlife Team Open. I'll try to get Tim Vaughn on here next week and to discuss these, and that way he can explain some of them. 614 Crowder Vanderwerk Roadrunner. See here, this will be July the 19th, American Horse Lake. September, Ellsworth Latonka. So you'll have your choice of fishing either one of those lakes for that tournament. And then they're holding their Western Oklahoma Kayak Anglers Classic on Lake Texoma this year in October. That's going to be a good event.
Yeah. Texoma is a good lake, a big lake, lots of areas. I'm wondering how they're going to break it down with boundaries. If the whole lake is going to be open, the Texas side, or if you have to stay just on the Oklahoma side. I'd be curious to find out some information. But no matter where you go on that lake, there's some killer smallmouth.
Yeah, there sure is. There's and that's a good lake. So, whenever you get on that lake, you have to buy, you can get just in Oklahoma. You have to buy, don't you have to buy a Lake Texoma fishing license?
Yes. It's $10 for the year, and it's specifically for Lake Texoma, but this gives you access to all the water in Texoma. So, theoretically, as an Oklahoma license holder, you can park in Texas and launch from there. As long as you're in the lake, you're allowed to fish it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's required to have a Texoma license to be on Texoma.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure if it's right or not, but I think if you hold a Texas license and an Oklahoma license, then you don't need that lake permit because you have both states' licenses. But if you only hold one state's license, like Oklahoma, then you would need the permit to fish on the Texas side, and vice versa. If you hold a Texas license and not an Oklahoma license, then you would need that permit to fish on the Oklahoma side.
Yeah.
It's just worth it to pay that $10 and just get
$10 is not. Yeah, $10 take care of it. You already don't have to worry about it. And but then again, Tim might have it just on the Oklahoma side. I'm not sure where their boundaries are, so I'm sure he'll discuss it when you have him on and make it clear.
Yeah. Yeah. So here is the. Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so here's they're calling it the Sunday Slam Yak Pot Series. This is run by Dustin Wheeler and Blake Collins. And March the 16th, the Lone Chimney Lake. April the 20th, Onapa Lake, which is right here just between Eufaula and Shakota. May 11th, Pumpback. May 25th, Cleveland. June the 15th, Spavinal. July the 20th, they're having a heavy hitters tournament on Prague Lake, which is a qualification only. We'll have to get Dustin Wheeler or Blake Collins in here to verify that. Randy Creason is saying that they've changed Onapa to April the 6th. August 3rd, Okmulgee. August the 15th, a night tournament, I guess. It'll be Pumpback or evening tournament on Pumpback. August the 23rd, a team event, Illinois River. September 21st, Sahoma. October 12th, Sportsman Lake. So we'll have to get Dustin and Blake on to talk about these team events and the night events as well as these heavy hitters. I'm really curious to know about this heavy hitters event, what it's going to take to qualify for that. That'll be a real fun event to be a part of.
Yeah, that looks like a pretty good schedule. I like their events. I haven't fished any of them this year because I go to church on Sundays, and it's kind of hard for me to get to both of them. But I think that this year I'm going to try to get to a couple of their events because it seems like a real fun time. Yeah. Especially they give you some options like that Friday night lights. That's one thing that I've been really would like to try and do is to have a nighttime fishing tournament. So especially when it's hot in the summertime like that on a good lake, it could be a really fun time. And I saw a team event on there. So that's always fun when you come together with a buddy and fish against other buddies. So
Yep. Well, did you see on the Southern Oklahoma Kayak Anglers? We have a nighttime tournament on McGee Creek, August
Ooh,
15th.
yeah, that
That'll
one.
be a night tournament.
Yep. You guys will probably see me there.
Yep, that'll
That's a
be
fun.
a good one. So yeah, it's just too hot to get out there and fish during the daytime. So might as well make it a night tournament on McGee Creek, and that'll be a good lake for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's gonna be interesting to see. There's a pretty decent group of guys in our club that do night fish. Some guys I feel like they almost exclusively night fish, and it can be a great time. And no telling who might turn up for that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, it was good to have you on, and I think we got most things covered that we were wanting to cover. If there's anything left out, you got anything to add, Zach or Josh?
Go check out Oklahoma Kayak, Tulsa store, Oklahoma City store. Show them love, guys. Man, they're like one of the reasons why all these clubs are going in the state of Oklahoma. Like they have supported kayaking from the very beginning, back in 2009 and 10, when it was in the beginning of its early roots. And I just can't give enough shout out to Dave Lindo and the group of guys he has at both his shops. They take care of their anglers so well. They get you back out on the water if you need to be repaired or get things fixed up. They carry just about everything that you need for a kayak accessory wise, from catch boards to kayaks to electronics to Yak Attack gear, batteries, motors, just anything that you need, they can get it for you or get their hands on it. And make sure you stop in there and show them some love, because they're just huge supporters of our kayaking group here in the state, and have been for a very long time.
Zach?
Just I had to plug it. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, Dave Lindo does. He's got a great company. He does really good with Oklahoma Kayak and Tulsa Kayak, and all they do for all these clubs around. They give and give and give, and you can't beat their prices or their customer support and service.
Right. I challenge you to ask another angler out on the water about Oklahoma Kayak Angler and what they've done for anglers out there, and I bet you'll have a lot of stories of good customer service and to take care of the angler. I know of multiple ones off the top of my head where guys break a drive, take it in there, and they fix it and get you right back on the water before you even need to leave. So.
Yep. Michael Cunningham said in heavy hitters you need to catch an 18-inch fish in an earlier tournament to qualify. So on that Sunday Slam series. So for that heavy hitters tournament. So I guess if you fish any event prior to that, if you catch an 18-inch fish or larger, that qualifies you to fish in that heavy hitters tournament.
That sounds like a fun time. I know we had something like that with the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers a couple years ago, which was real fun, where we had a qualification event and barbecue and stuff like that. So it's always fun to get out there and catch big fish and then go to a big fish factory to catch them.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. Well, I guess we're going to wrap this podcast up, and I was glad to have you guys on. Thanks for coming along, and thanks to all of our viewers for the questions and support. I appreciate everybody coming out and watching us and hanging out with us, and we're looking forward to doing it again next week with more up-to-date information and kind of what's going on in the kayak fishing world and in Oklahoma mostly. Even though we will delve into other areas outside the state. But we're definitely going to be the go-to source for anything kayak fishing in the state of Oklahoma.
Definitely. Well, thanks for having me on, Kenneth. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So you guys have a good one. All right, so that wraps up that podcast. I want to again thank everybody for coming out and joining in. Thanks for all the comments and the commentary along with everything. Glad everybody was here. look forward to next week's. And like I said again, if you guys want to support Oklahoma kayak anglers or Southern Oklahoma kayak anglers, Western Oklahoma kayak anglers, the Yak Pot Slam series. Reach out to any one of them guys. Reach out to myself if you want to support this podcast and get some advertisement out there. We'll do some advertisement plug-ins and try to help you along, do the best we can. Anyway, so it's good to have y'all all here, and we'll see you next time.